Start on a positive. What's gotten into Zoe the last couple of weeks?
How about I told him yesterday I'm gonna start calling him Mr. Carter. Said Mr. Carter showed up. I'm like, I mean, who knows the exact reason? I know he works hard, works really hard during the week, and I'm happy for him that it's starting to come together, having some success. I mean, he's playing pretty well. He's doing a good job in the run, setting the edge, being able to transition, especially on early down, getting some pass rush and stuff. You saw last week we talked about something about in terms of flashing the long arm on like the third kick with that guy. Boom, got it. And it worked out perfectly. So, it's starting to come together for him. I'm just happy for him. But I refer to him as Mr. Carter. I might keep it going today too.
There might be some cynics who look at it saying he's got guys in a contract year. Mm-hmm. I mean, was he hurt before this?
Well, obviously he got hurt last year. Again, that injury questions you got to ask Joe and all those guys. But, I mean, sometimes it just takes a while to get clicking and, just maybe it's something in his mind's come together. I mean, you really have to ask him. I can't speak for him. I'm just happy that he's playing better and he's having some success, and then not that he was playing poorly before, but just to get the production. Because that's part of it, this is a production business, whether you're coaching, you're playing, whatever it may be, it's a production business and you want to reap the benefits of your hard work and, those sacks, the TFLs, being around the ball, all that stuff's part of it,
Pat, probably the last time we'll talk to you this season. We know last year you turned down an interview request as head coach. Will you take one this year if somebody calls and offers one?
It's so hard. I mean, those jobs, I mean, obviously, not obviously, but the idea is to one day be a head coach. A lot of us that get in this business, we want to do that. Again, I can't really speak on it right now because I mean, whatever the situation is, if someone wants to talk to me, they want to talk to me, I'm sure I'll consider it. But right now, again, my focus is so much on Washington, trying to figure out a way to win this game, get the guys in the right spot. But, I would be flattered to have an opportunity, but we'll see what comes of it later on.
I know you just said you're focused on Washington, but since we won't get you again, so how do you reflect on how the defense played overall this season when you look at the?
It starts with me. I don't think I did a good enough job. Obviously, when you don't get the wins that you wanted, and you don't, we got to do a better job. So it starts with me. I got a lot of stuff to reflect on this off season. To try to get it right, not to try to get it right. I got a list of stuff, over by my desk on my right-hand side, stuff I got to get fixed. And then my back, we have these dry erase boards that slide, so that backboard has a lot of the stuff that, I'm getting on myself about. So it starts there. And then from there, just, then you look at the statistical stuff and some of the analytics stuff, maybe, like in terms of like the calls and everything and what should work out here. And then the one thing I love about the offseason, especially when it starts next week, I love watching the playoff games. Unfortunately, for the last 5 years, I haven't been in a playoff game, so that's not fun. But I get to watch the playoff games because a lot of situational football come up, a lot of schemes that maybe you haven't seen with the crossover tape will come up. And again, good for me. My wife, thankfully, she likes to watch football, so, but it's still a work week for me. The weekends I'm working, you talk to any coach, it's tough to watch those games and not work. So you're working and trying to pick their brains, and then from there, I'll probably figure out what team I want to study, what coordinator system I want to study, and got to do a lot of studying this offseason. Got to get it right, got to work on the slow start, stuff like that. The 2-minute, obviously, just a lot of stuff to work on,
What do you attribute? You mentioned the 2-minute. I lost track.
Yeah, it's good. You don't have to say anything if you don't want to.
It's a lot of points in the 2-minute. Why do you think that is?
Again, it starts with me. That's part of again evaluating. Again, we got one more opportunity this week. I'm sure a 2-minute before the half will come up, and then most games in this league come down to 2-minute at the end of the game. So got another opportunity this week. But, like looking back at it, I mean, there's probably a number of things, but I know it starts with me. I got to get better in that situation, making sure really, emphasize, attacking their weaknesses and emphasizing our strengths. But, a lot of room to grow on that, learn my lesson this year. And, I'll work to improve it next year. I mean, it'll start pretty soon. And obviously we got to start this week. because Washington, they got us in the 2-minute twice last time, so that was good. They got down there in the low red, that 3rd and 3 or whatever, with like 23 seconds. They ran the ball in, then the one to get the field goal. So, we got it to a 4th down, didn't capitalize on that. So, just some situational football in there. We got to get it fixed.
If I could ask one big picture coordinator question.
Yep.
What do you think is the hardest offense to stop? Like what tenants? I'm not saying what team. I'm saying is it one that gets the ball out fast or one that runs more than it passes? Like
I could tell. I give you specifics. Just over my 13-year career in the league, the guy who's giving me, not me, I wasn't a coordinator, but just as a coach, Kubiak. Right? It didn't matter. Didn't matter what we did. They would go for 300, 400 yards. So combination of that zone stretch, play action, they always did a good job, but, they used to murder us, man. I'm not saying we would lose every game, but they used to murder. Oh, man. I'm telling you, if you give me drinking enough and I start talking, there's nightmares from those games, man. Yeah. I probably, you want to talk about remember plays? I can remember probably, you could point out, okay, gain of 25, like, all right, 2012, Houston. Trust me, I got some nightmares from Kubiak, man. Whew, he's pretty good. He's pretty good.
You're pretty close with Joe. What do you think of all? You're not oblivious to what's going on around. Like, what do you think? What do you think of all the criticism that he's been getting now, and including for that press conference the other day?
Again, I can't speak on the specifics or anything. I just know this. Good leadership. Being able to ignore the noise and be able to focus. I talk about it before, the emotional stamina to be able to handle whatever comes their way. Again, I'm here because of Joe. I'm here because of Joe. Trust in Joe's vision. Again, leadership has to have vision, and vision, you can't be worried about the stuff that tries to sidetrack you from there. So, again, I don't pay attention to the criticism. I'm sure my wife would want to tell me some stuff, but she keeps that away from me. People text me during the season. It's hard to get in touch with me during the season, so I can't really speak on it. I just know this. I know Joe's strong. He's a good leader, smart dude, and, he'll handle it how he needs to handle it, but, to me, just ignore the noise. That's what you have to do. 1 minute, Pat Graham's the worst defensive coordinator ever in the history of football. 1 minute, I'm going to be the head coach or whatever. I'm like, now I'm the worst coordinator again. I'm like, I don't listen to it. Again, obviously I might have heard it. I just, regurgitated it back to you. But I don't pay any attention to it. I know this. I got a long way to go. I know that. I hope I'm not a finished product right now. So I got a long way to go. So we're just trained to just really ignore it. Really ignore it. Focus on the players. Focus on the opponent. Washington. They got, the quarterback's playing well. I really like this guy. I remember seeing him in that game against Tampa Bay last year in the playoff when I talked about watching the playoff games. I was like, yo, who is this guy? And just how he's done so well this year. So, we got a tough opponent this week. So that's the main focus.
Do you feel like this defense as a whole, I'm talking big picture, the end of this year going into next year, is really close to being like, you're good. Your guys are pretty good, and you're good in stretches. Are you close to being like a really high-end unit in your mind?
I think this, the energy's good. The work ethic is good. I think I got some improvement I need to do as a coordinator, as a play caller. I think sometimes and again it goes back to me, the finish, the finish. We got to finish better. And again, it starts with me. I call the call, so it starts with me. So I think that's one thing, just looking ahead, that's something that'll help us, the finish, finish on opportunities, whether, it's the right call in the 3rd down situation, whether the pressure, whether not the pressure, stuff like that. But are we close? Next year is all a new year. This is the last time we're going to have this group of guys out there. That's why we got to enjoy every moment. This is the last Thursday meeting I'm going to have with the guys. Tomorrow's the last Friday meeting. Today's the last Thursday practice. And, you think about it, it gets kind of sad sometimes because, you're not going to see the whole group again. And no matter, again, it's a business. We're playing football. We're coaching football. But I spend more time with them than I do my family. So, you get close with these guys. And, I know me personally, I do this because of them. That's where I get my energy. I draw my energy from the players. Y'all know I'm a pretty grumpy, cranky, miserable dude for the most part, aside from my family and these players. And, I just want success for them. You know, that's why I get like, you know, I get upset about stuff because I just want them to be successful. I want Leo to win games. I want JB to win games. All the work they put in out here, I want them to win games. I want them to reap the rewards of all their hard work. So that's when, you know, the disappointment sets in, and then when you start to get towards the end of the year, you know, and we didn't get to what we wanted to get to, you know, yeah, it gets a little sad. But like, are we close? I mean, who knows? Next year is so different, you know. I just know this. I got to get better, and I'm sure they're thinking they got to get better because it wasn't good enough, I'll tell you that much. So, I mean, close, not good enough. I mean, you're either good and you hold that trophy at the end, or it wasn't good enough. That, again, I know there's in between, but, again, the sin of when you win the thing one time, that's all that matters. All that matters. Sorry.
Do you sense any uncertainty on the staff about whether the plug is going to get pulled on this?
We coach football in the NFL. Since the moment I signed my first contract in 2009, when Bill called me in the office and I signed my contract, I knew I knew then, not for long, all that stuff that coaches tell you, that's how it is. I mean, so I can't speak about this particular situation or anything like that. I just know how I operate. I operate just hoping, boom, swipe my card, I get in, cool. You know, like, and I'm here for another day, and I just work hard for that day. Again, I think when you learn to focus on the day, you're not worried about that stuff. And I know there's stories to be written, and there's stuff. I get it. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the question or anything like that. But in terms of how I operate, and I know how a lot of the coaches operate, it's day to day. I'm focused on Washington right now. Figure out a way how to stop 24. Figure out how a way to limit 17 on Sunday. You know, figure out a way to keep the quarterback from scrambling all over the place and throwing these passes behind his ear and whatever he's doing, man. This guy is completing a lot of balls. So that's what's keeping me up right now.